And now it's time to move to the next phase here and start to configure Loggernet so that it can communicate with the data logger. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to split the screen here, minimize the Azure dashboard, open up the Word file that I sent to you. And in here we have so on step 7, use the Loggernet setup client to configure the data logger using these properties, okay? And all right, so on the Azure VM, we're going to open up Loggernet. I'm going to highlight the properties that we're going to need to enter. So that one. And you can see F, G, and H. These talk about the security codes, 1, 2, or 3. So these are 4 or 5 digit numbers that are these Campbell Scientific unique security codes that are used to log in to a data logger at different levels of security. I'm trying to think. Let's see. I think what we'll do is well, let's just log in at security level 1, but we'll just be careful not to screw anything up, okay? Because we have all permissions at security level 1. All right, so on in Loggernet, I'm going to open up the setup client. All right, let me maximize the screen here for now. All right, by default, the setup client opens up in easy view, but for years I've been using standard view, so I'm going to switch to that. I assume all the same properties are available in easy view, but I just prefer the standard view. All right, and what we're going to do is first we're going to do something called adding a root, which is really the root. What we're building is a network of components that make up the Loggernet network. All right, so the core component, the first step towards talking to the data logger is to determine what kind of a communications port we're going to use to make that connection. And we're going to use an IP port. And we have a type of data logger. So there's a CR1000 data logger in the EcoHouse. And that is what's called a PAC bus data logger. PAC bus is a proprietary Campbell Scientific communications protocol that it uses to communicate, to send packets of data among all the Campbell Scientific related equipment. And by the way, Loggernet itself is considered a node in that PAC bus network. Every PAC bus device in a network has its own address, and we'll see that in a minute. But the CR1000 data logger, as you can see here, is a PAC bus data logger. So it shows up there. So that is that's our network. We have the IP port and then this special thing called a PAC bus port, and then the data logger itself. And let's name this EcoHouse. All right. That name is going to be used in things like the CSV files that are generated that persist the data. All right. So you're going to see this EcoHouse name show up in various places in Loggernet. All right. So now we're going to go through each tab here, and actually we're going to start with the IP port node, and we're going to enter the information that's required for this node. So our internet IP address. All right. Now, because this Azure VM is outside of the local network, the local, the LAN that the EcoHouse is on, we need to use the public IP address. Okay. So that IP address is here. Oops. Nope. I think I screwed that up. Oh, I still have highlighting. We need to copy and paste. All right, there we go. So there's our IP address, and we're on port 6785. That port 6785 is the default that Campbell Scientific assumes will be assigned, or it's the default that is assigned to all the network adapters for the data loggers. All right. So unless you change that, in fact, your data logger uses the default 6785. All right. We're going to use the rest of these options. We're not going to change any of these. We'll just leave the defaults. So we'll move to PAC bus port. And the only thing we're going to enter here is the TCP password, which is right here. All right. And then finally, we have the data logger, or also known as a station, that node here. We have the PAC bus address. All right, we have the security code, which I just discussed. We're going to go with the level 1 security code. Then finally, the PAC bus encryption key. All right. Now, the rest of these options are not required to, we don't have to go ahead and set those right now in order to test our connection to the data logger. We'll do that in the next step. But for now, let's click apply. All right, so now our network here has been specified. We've entered the properties. I'm going to close out of the setup screen.